Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Today in this class we shall be talking about cells, right? We had stopped at the classification, like how we can classify cells as unicellular and multicellular. Now there's one more way of classifying the cells. Now this classification is based on how complex a cell is. What are the different components that make up the cell, whether it is simplest or it has some internal subcellular structures. Based on that, we classify them as prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotes are those cells which are very simplest in type of the cell, the contents of the cell. It will have the basic structure, that is the cell membrane, the cytoplasm and the nucleus. Apart from that, they have something additional. What is that? They have a cell wall, and this cell wall is protective in function. They also have this flagella like structure which helps them in movement. Okay, now what is so simple about these cells? Here we can see that within the cytoplasm, these cells, they have the genetic material. That means the material which is required to pass on the traits like how you look, what is the hair color, what will be the height, how you behave. All these characters are contained in this genetic material, and this information will be passed on. What else is present in prokaryotes? They have the ribosomes, which are the machinery which will synthesize proteins, and these are scattered in the cytoplasm, floating. Okay, now if we compare this with the eukaryotes, this is well evolved structure, more complex than the prokaryotes. What difference it has? It will have the internal cellular components like the cell organelles. These are the simpler structures which are present within the cell, and they help the cell to carry out life activities like transportation, and how the proteins of cells will take up different functions. So eukaryotes have division of labor. Each individual component will have its specific function, and that together they work in a team for overall activity of a cell, right? So how many cells do you have in your body? We have trillions of cells. It is not a small number, it is a very huge number. The amount of cell that makes up an organism is different in different life forms. Especially in humans, there are 200 different types of cells, and those cells which are similar, they get together to form a tissue. Different types of tissue, they get together to form different organs. In this case, we have taken heart as an organ. The cells of heart together, they form tissue, and this tissue will form the heart, and this in turn is going to form what we call as an organ system. Specifically, when we say heart, it is the circulatory system. This system in turn is going to be present in this body, which makes up the body of an organism. Likewise, different cells will make different organs, that in turn will make organ system together, which is forming the body of an organism. Now if we are going to see the different kinds of cells here, we see that the size is different, the shape is different. If you consider the nerve cells, that is, brain is an organ which is made up of different nerve cells. They are highly branched structures, and these are the longest cells in the body. And what is their job? To convey the message, transmit the signals from one part of it to another part of the body. So likewise, you have the muscle cells which are required for movement of your hand, the biceps. All those are made up of this muscle cells. They have a spindle shape. Now if you consider the RBC, the cells which are present in your blood, okay, they have round shape. Okay, the function is to transport oxygen to different parts of the body. So now we have seen there is diversity in the type of cells which are present in human body, and each different types of cell, they have different structure, and here the structure is related to what type of function it performs in the body. So if you are going to specifically see this, these are the liver cells, group of same type of cells, they make a liver tissue, and this tissue in turn is going to make which organ? Liver. So now what exactly an organelle is? Just like organs that are present in the body, organelles are in plants. So what they do here is they are the subcellular structures, very small structures which are present inside the cell. They are of different types. They have a membrane which protects them and keeps them separate from other components of the cell, and they have a specific function. Each organelle will have a specific function. They together perform the task so that the cell is going to survive. Now let's know the components of each cell. Before this, let's go to the plant cell. Now if we are going to look at the plant cell, do you find any difference here? Yes, one difference what you noticed must be the external thick layer. What you see here is the cell wall. Next to that you have cell membrane. Okay, now within the cytoplasm you could see that all the cell organelles which we have just talked about are floating in the cytoplasm. Now what are the organelles that are present here? These are endoplasmic reticulums, then Golgi complex, mitochondria, the nucleus with nucleolus. Then what else? Can you see this green color structures which we did not see in other animal cell, right? So these are the specific only to plant cells. What are these? These are chloroplast. What is the function of chloroplast? It is the site for photosynthesis. Now what is photosynthesis? It is the way by which plant is going to make food or prepare the food by using sunlight, carbon dioxide and air as water as a source. Okay, now let us see what is different in plant here. Apart from chloroplast, you could see this large central vacuole. So this is the most prominent feature which will give the shape for the plant cell. It stores water, it gives the rigid shape for the plant cell. Now is the cell wall permeable as cell membrane? We call cell membrane as semi-permeable. That means it's going to selectively send only those contents that are required for the cell in and remove waste that is not required by the body out of the cell. Now what is the function of the cell wall? Cell wall is going to provide the shape first of all. Secondly, it's going to provide the external strength. It helps the plant from injury. It prevents the plant from injury. Now can you say the difference between plant cell and animal cell? So what are the basic components? Before this, just have a look on animal cell. See here, we see the animal cell. It has the external membrane which we call as plasma membrane. This membrane is going to separate the internal contents of the cell from external environment. It is semi-permeable. Next to that, you have a jelly-like substance which we call as cytoplasm. Within the cytoplasm, there are cell organelles. As you have seen in the plants, even these will have cell organelles. The nucleus with the nuclear membrane, the vacuoles, and this mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, and Golgi complex. In addition to that, what is more specific for animal cells is the presence of centriole. Their job is they help in cell division process. Now, do they have cell wall? No. Animal cell does not have cell wall. Now you have seen the structures, what we term as lysosome. They are called as suicide bag of the cell. Now what is its role? It's going to digest all unwanted stuff of the cell which is not required. You can say that this is the dustbin which will take away all the waste. And any pathogen which has entered will also be consumed by this lysosomes. Now it's the time to differentiate between a plant cell and animal cell. Just have a look and try to get an idea whether you can differentiate between a plant cell and animal cell. What is unique for each? What is unique and how they are different? In what way they are similar? This is the homework for you. You need to differentiate, write what is specific only to plant cell and what is specific only to animal cell. And then what is common between these two? Thank you. Hope you have understood in today's session. Thank you very much.